Today I want to talk about Marvel Rivals because I got to play the alpha for it, and since I run a channel entirely themed around comic books and superheroes, I thought maybe two of you guys might be interested in my opinions on it. Today's episode is brought to you by This Hot Sauce Is. Right now we are running a sale. If you go use the code COMICS at checkout, you will get buy one, get one free and free shipping. That means you get 2 bottles of our hot sauce and free shipping. Our hot sauce is a mild spicy flavor. We use a green hatch chili and we use whiskey to kind of spice the flavor up. It is not alcoholic. It works for a lot of different stuff like eggs or pulled pork or whatever you might want to put it on. I used it on nachos the other day, and right now we just want people to be aware that we made this hot sauce and it's good and we want you to try it. So use the code COMICS at checkout. You will get 2 bottles and you will get free shipping. It's for the next 500 orders, so could be there in a week, could be gone today. Go check it out, please. I appreciate it. Marvel Rivals is a new team-based shooter from the company NetEase, and it basically looks and plays kind of like Overwatch. There is a bit of a witch hunt going on right now because everyone's like, you're not allowed to say anything negative about the game because of this contract that we found. I don't know where that contract came from. We haven't signed a contract like that. We did a bit of a promotion for Marvel Rivals back in March, and I haven't heard anything from the company that handled that since that video rolled out back then. The way I got access to the game was not by some contract or whatever along those lines. I had a buddy who got the alpha, and then they have a stupid system in which you have to log in at a set time every single day to get a code to give to your friend. He gave me the code, and now I've had to play this stupid game of logging in this game multiple times in the day with other friends and then leveling them to the appropriate level so that we can get another code and get somebody else to join us. It's a stupid system for alpha. You should just give the codes out to people, but whatever. That's how I got access to it. What I'm telling you is no one's telling me I can't shit on this game. And I want to shit on this game. But it's so much fun. Like, legitimately. I've been around the block for a while with superhero-themed video games, and as a matter of fact, one of the most what the hell are they thinking games, and like 2 of you guys might remember this, was the Crisis on Infinite Earths game, in which it was a MOBA, like League of Legends, but you were DC superheroes, and the game like never got out of beta. Like, that's the kind of thing these companies make, or they make trash mobile games like Marvel Strike Force, which are great for the first month, and then they make it the most pay-to-win shit in the world, and you're just sitting here like, I liked your game, now I don't want to give you thousands of dollars, so I don't want to play your game. Like, this is what we deal with as fans of superhero games. Or we get games like Marvel's Avengers, where they're like, let's make a single-player game, but money. If only we knew how to freaking do live service. And then we get the occasional, like, diamond in the rough, like Arkhamverse or Spider-Man, and everyone goes, make more of that. Just do that. And then the gaming companies go, nah, 6v6 Overwatch wannabe game. So I really did, like, when they sent me the original stuff, I was excited. It did look like fun, but I wanted to find problems. I wanted to shit on this. I wanted to make a fun video where we're just crapping on it, and I have had so much fun. This game reminds me of the early days of Overwatch and that excitement and that enjoyment I got. Going into matches and like teaming up with my buddies and getting frustrated because the other teammates are freaking morons. Ranting and raving that the healer's not healing me or the tank isn't pushing, and then trying to do some like bullshit up and over a wall to just surprise people. Swinging into combat as Spider-Man and everyone being like, Spider-Man's weak, and then wiping the entire team because they don't have the intelligence to turn the freak around when Spider-Man's uppercutting them. This game has like brought back nostalgia vibes of all of my favorite team-based shooters. And I was able to get a lot of my buddies to come back and play this because I'm like, it's like Overwatch, but we're Marvel. And they all joined up, and it was a lot of fun. And don't worry, we are going to talk about the problems with this game, but I did want to start this on a positive note because regardless of my issues and my problems and the issues that and the just stuff I'm going to talk about, I have had so much fun playing this game. The big things that make this separate from Overwatch, and I want to talk about them right now. One, we have no role-based queue right now, and half of my team that I play with are all like role-based queue, role-based queue. I don't think we need it in alpha and beta. It's something you could easily roll out when the game comes out. I think right now, just let people play whoever, be the superheroes, which has led to funny moments, like when we had a Doctor Strange that insisted he wanted to hang out in the back. And for those who aren't playing Marvel Rivals, Doctor Strange is a tank. He's supposed to be in the front. So we are losing the match because Doctor Strange isn't pushing. Things like that will happen in this alpha, and it's whatever. Another thing that I've really noticed that was a lot of fun about Marvel Rivals is their take on flyer characters. Now, if you've played Overwatch and things like that, the flyers go up, they do a move, they go back down. But this game said, screw it. What if we just give everyone traversal? Then we don't have to worry about people having like advantages. I've gone into matches where I'm running around as Star-Lord using my jet boost to go into the sky, and I go up there and I find Scarlet Witch, I find Storm, and I find Iron Man all waiting to blast me out of the sky. And that's just an exciting moment in which I go, hey, no one should fly right now. They're literally up there waiting. Or I'll do things like Spider-Man, who the entire community has decided is weak, but he moves so quick, no one sees him coming. And once you get the hang of the insane web slinging, you can fling yourself up and over the opposing team and then just start picking them off from the back. If they're not communicating, no one's telling anyone else that there's a Spider-Man picking them off. There was one match in particular. I kept jumping over the tank, which was Doctor Strange, and I killed him over and over and over, and it was hilarious. And then it turned into, for round 2, I was just looking for that one guy, because it was so funny to me. It was like, hey, I'm doing No Way Home. I'm beating the tar out of Doc Strange. Tom Holland wailing on Benedict Cumberbatch. This is great. It was just so much fun, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. The characters all play like mixed matched versions of your favorite Overwatch characters. Pretty much everyone in there, me and my group who did play Overwatch back in the day, and for the record, we never went to Overwatch 2. When they said we're shutting down Overwatch and made Overwatch 2, and Overwatch 2 is just Overwatch 1 with a big 2 and a battle pass, my whole crew was like, we're done. Let's go play other games. Which, fine, whatever. We backed out at that point. But every hero in there we're able to pinpoint, like, oh, this plays like this Overwatch character, but in third person. Like Star-Lord. I love playing Star-Lord. He plays his guns act like Tracer's guns, and he's got like a spin maneuver like Reaper from Overwatch. Or you've got Groot, who plays like Mei because he can put walls up all over the place. And an effective Groot is the most like area denial character I've ever run into, because they need to give him a bigger cooldown on those walls, because destroying the walls means nothing if he can put it right back. Iron Man is so much fun because you don't just fly up and shoot, but you're zipping around and doing various moves. And one thing that I've noticed about this game is playing a lot of shooters, they try to make it as basic as possible. It's not an unknown fact that a lot of games aim for the broadest possible audience that they can by making their games simple, very casual friendly. As a hardcore gamer, we do have that complaint in a lot of the communities that I'm a part of, where it's like, oh my God, they're making it for the casual gamer again. And I've always argued that's because there's a lot more of them with way more money than there is us hardcores who are going to go crazy. So a lot of shooters try to break it down to like, here's your one gun and your one ability. Overwatch in particular has that. I think for the most part, everyone has like 2 abilities and 1 gun, and you just all run around and point and click. But Marvel Rivals is taking it to a different level, because I felt like a lot of the characters have a very easy point of entry. I'm going to bring up Star-Lord again because he's the character I spent the most time with. Where when I first get onto Star-Lord, it's like, okay, I can fly a little bit, I can do a cartwheel, spin, and move, and I can shoot straight. And I have this one move, which is an AoE spin maneuver that takes out various enemies. All of that sounds very basic, but the more I played Star-Lord, the more I got a real big handle on this and how all of these move combo together with other players on the team. That's one thing I noticed, is that a lot of the abilities do work really well in like tandem with each other. Case in point, Groot would make up various walls, and then I could jump in and do my AoE maneuver behind the wall. There was another character I played a lot of known as Penny Parker, which some of you may know, some of you might not. She was in the first Spider-Verse movie as the little anime girl with the giant robot. Well, the giant robot is basically a tank that can set traps, which at first seemed terrible and useless. How do I use these traps? But as time went on and I learned how to use it with other people's abilities, the traps were way more effective than I expected. I was getting way more kills than I expected. And the only complaint I had about Penny Parker is that for a giant robot, she's moving very slowly. I feel like she should go faster. But that's the nitpick. I'd say one of the biggest problems I have with the character's abilities is they aren't very well explained within the game. Using Penny Parker as another explanation, everything says that it uses a cyber web. And the cyber web is webbing that you can put on the floor, on the walls, and whatever. And my reaction was, what does that do? Now, one of the people on my team was like, oh, it slows the enemy. It does not. Another guy was like, oh, it does damage over time. It does not. I went through the entire tutorial for Penny Parker. I had to go into her character dossier to read what the abilities did, and nothing said what the cyber web did. I had to go into the training map, and then in the training, there's a guy running in circles, and I just dropped the webs in front of him to see what it would do. And that's when I realized it's dropping mines that can move on the web. So if somebody steps on the web, the mine hits them for 1 point of damage instead of a DOT, which is where the confusion would come in, because you would walk on the web, take damage, and assume it's the web doing all of that. The point I'm making with this overly complicated explanation of Penny Parker's cyber webs is the game did a very poor job of explaining that. And I know it's an alpha and they can fix this, but when you play the alpha, all of the explanations seem to be in place. All of the training levels seem to be in place. It does seem to be in a good spot of teaching you the moves. They're just not very well explained. One of my biggest complaints, and this is really probably going to be an alpha complaint, but is the balance is all over the place. There are very clear, super overpowered characters, and there are very clear, like, weak characters. But again, the game is in alpha. I don't think we're going to get the full release until 2025, which basically means it's going to be tweaked and adjusted and changed and stuff like that. Another of my big issues is that there is a lack of roll queue, which in the long term, I'd like to see, but right now, we're just in alpha and beta. Let people goof around, do whatever they want. Some matches get very one-sided very quickly. The Overwatch old comp of like 2 or 3 tanks and, 1 or 2 healers, the old comps all work well. If you're just running around with a couple of tanks, you're almost going to dominate the matches. We noticed a pretty standard rollout for us was 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 DPS. We seem to win most of our matches with that composition. And then whenever we would do, there's only 3 of us online, and then randos would jump in, and the comp would get mixed up, those are the matches that we would lose. So I do think the game needs roll queue, but it doesn't need it right now. I know it's one of the biggest complaints people are having. The game is also not optimized at all. On my computer rig, I can normally run, I'm not joking, I'll run like an app game on one side, or I'll run Final Fantasy 14 in the background. It's an ongoing joke with the team here that if I'm having a lag issue or a problem, Benny, go shut down the 3 games you have running in the background. And it's because I'm lazy. Well, not lazy. I'm impatient, and I don't want to let these games load. So if it's like a game that's a live service, I try to just leave it up on my computer and play things on top of that. Yeah, I couldn't even get Discord to work properly when I was running Marvel Rivals, just to tell you how unoptimized it is. If I was playing Marvel Rivals, that is all my computer could handle at the time. No YouTube videos on the side, no music, no Discord. I could get voice going, and I'd have to start it up before Marvel Rivals, and then once the game was going, it would lag if I tried to type on Discord. So it's like I'm in voice, and that's all we are, and that's all I can do. But one thing that I thought you guys might check with me for is how good is this to the Marvel lore? And holy crap, are there some deep cuts in here. When the characters first arrive, we have a lot of good back and forth, a lot of banter with them. Situations are, when they go into the future, there's a lot of discussions about Doom, who I think Doom is going to be a playable character at some point, but how Doom, we got to work with Doom, we got to work against Doom, should we trust Doom? I liked situations like Penny Parker met with Peter, and she's like, oh, Peter, it's been so long. And he's like, oh, I think you're talking about a different Peter in the multiverse, which is a fun nod. Magneto had a comment of Krakoa will never fall. If only Magneto knew what was going on right now in comics, maybe he wouldn't say that. But the fact that we're referencing Krakoa means that we're very current on our references and stuff like that, which I do appreciate that they're tracking what's going on in the world of comics. Krakoa is only a 4-year period in the entirety of X-Men, but we're going to make comments on Krakoa. There's also really obscure characters like Spider-Zero. There's a whole mission where we got to go save Spider-Zero or defend Spider-Zero from being saved. And Spider-Zero is pretty much a Spider-Verse character that was used to carry on the concept of the Spider-Verse and is in these obscure comics in the Spider-Verse lore that almost no one read but me. You don't need to, trust me. It's not worth it. Don't go down that rabbit hole. What I'm getting at is where it's at right now. I see this game being very, very fun, and it's going to garner an audience. Do I see a future for the game? I do. Will it be huge? I don't know. It's really going to come down to how well they balance it and how well they optimize the game and how well they can get the servers running for the official launch. My assumption is that the reason we were dealing with bullshit on the invite codes is they were slowly letting more and more people into the game so that they could stress the servers out. And that was the reasoning behind it. But as it stands right now, if they don't fix the balance, it will be a come out, everyone's going to complain and like love it for the first month, complain about it for the second month, and drop off. But if they can balance these insane power sets and things like that, I'm on board. And if you're wondering how they're doing things like Hulk versus like Spider-Man and stuff like that, they're doing it way better than Marvel's Avengers, where everyone had to be on the same even keel. Hulk is Hulk. If he's running at you, panic and run the hell away, because he's not going to stop punching you until you die. So don't... Like, if you're getting in a character like Magic, who builds up a shield based on how much damage she can deal, but you haven't built that shield up yet, don't go to the Hulk. He will one-shot you practically. And then you have things like Scarlet Witch's ult, which takes literally like 5 to 8 seconds to charge. But if you don't kill her, she will one-shot everybody. It erases you from existence. That's the maneuver. She House of M's the opposing team. But they're doing a good job of balancing that, because the amount of times that we've heard that, and then our Luna would shoot her out of the sky, freezing her, blocking the ult, and then we'd all like bombard her. It works. They're doing a good job, but it's still off. It's still all over the place. There's still some things where you're just like, oh, fudge, you know, like, and then the combo maneuvers are great. I forgot to mention that earlier. There's team ups, which is, if they can make these good, is going to be really a heads or tails above things like Overwatch. A great example is Rocket can jump on the back of Groot, which gives you default cover. It adds 200 HP to Groot, and Rocket gets a defensive buff, and then they're just running around together, so you're basically the turret on the back of Groot. It's awesome. It's so much fun, and when you do it with your friends, you're like, yes! Or Magneto gets like a Chaos Sword if he's working with Scarlet Witch, which does incredible damage. So, yeah, I think I've covered all the major beats, the team-up maneuvers, the unbalanced nature of it, how much fun I was having with it, and the Easter eggs. So let me know what you guys think down below, if you've been able to play it, or if you've just been watching it, what you think about that. Because I want to play this. I want to go crazy on this. This is going to be so much fun. All right, see you guys next time right here.